If you work very long hours or you have to be away from your cat for an extended stretch, there are a few precautions worth taking to make sure they stay physically and emotionally healthy while you're gone. Because cats may be better equipped to handle being alone than dogs are, but it's important not to overestimate how well they cope. The research is fairly clear on this now. Cats form strong bonds with their owners. They feel safer and more secure when their person is around. And plenty of them experience real stress, and in some cases genuine separation anxiety, when you're not. Hi everyone, I'm Leo Bennett, your neighborhood cat guy. Today we're going through 9 common mistakes cat owners unknowingly make when leaving their cats home alone, how long a cat can actually be left on their own, and the signs that yours isn't coping, which almost everybody reads as bad behavior instead. Small thing before we carry on. This is one chapter of a much bigger conversation about what your cat is trying to tell you, and I've gathered all of it into a book called The Happy Cat Manual over at leobennettsecrets.com. Go take a look if you want more happy years with your cat. That's all. Mistake 1. Leaving out one enormous pile of food. This is the classic. You're away for 2 or 3 days, so you tip half a bag into the biggest bowl in the house and top up the water, and off you go. 3 things go wrong with that, and they go wrong in different directions. Some cats will eat the entire lot on the first day. Cats don't ration, and a stressed cat frequently overeats, so you get a cat who's unwell on day 1 and has nothing at all on day 3. Other cats do the opposite. Cats are particular about freshness, and food that's been sitting out in an open bowl for 48 hours doesn't smell right anymore. So they turn their nose up and eat considerably less than they should. And the third problem is the one nobody thinks about. You now have no idea how much your cat has eaten. If you come back and the bowl is half empty, that could mean 2 good days or 1 bad one followed by nothing. You've lost the single most useful piece of information you have about a cat's health. So instead, proper meals at proper times via a sitter or a timed feeder, and spread food around. Puzzle feeders, treat balls, small amounts hidden in a few places. That turns eating into a hunt, which is enrichment as well as nutrition. And if you're using a timed feeder for the first time, set it up a week before you actually need it. A cat who has never seen the thing before and suddenly finds a plastic box making noises where breakfast used to be is not reassured by it. Mistake 2. Assuming the litter box will hold. Cats are fastidious. A box that would be perfectly acceptable on Friday morning is not acceptable by Saturday night, and a cat who finds it unusable will go elsewhere. Then you come home, find a mess, and read it as protest. It wasn't protest. It was a cat with no acceptable option. So set out extra boxes before you leave, in different locations rather than lined up next to each other. Scoop everything before you go. And if someone's coming in, make sure scooping is explicitly on their list, because plenty of sitters will feed and play and never touch the box unless you ask. And a note on the general rule while we're here. 1 box per cat, plus 1 spare in separate places. That's the standard, and it exists precisely because cats won't queue. 2 boxes side by side count as 1 box as far as your cat is concerned. Mistake 3. Changing the routine while you're away. This one is invisible to us and enormous to them. Cats are creatures of habit to a degree that people underestimate. Their sense of security is built on predictability, the same things happening at the same times in the same places. That's not fussiness. That's how a small animal establishes that its territory is safe. So when you disappear, the routine is already disrupted, which means everything else needs to stay as close to normal as you can manage. Meals at the usual times, not whenever the sitter happens to arrive, the box scooped daily, lights and curtains roughly as they'd usually be. Some ordinary activity in the house, rather than total silence for 3 days and then a stranger crashing about for 10 minutes. And a practical instruction for whoever's coming. Visit at least as often as your cat normally gets fed. 1 visit a day for a cat who eats twice a day isn't cover. It's half a routine. Mistake 4. Closing all the blinds. Most people shut everything before they leave. It keeps the heat out, keeps the energy bill down, stops people seeing in. Completely reasonable, and for a cat, it removes one of the few genuinely good things about the day. A window is not a small thing to an indoor cat. Birds, squirrels, people, weather, other cats, and a patch of sun that moves across the room on a schedule they know by heart. It's the closest thing they've got to television, and it's free. So leave at least 1 or 2 open. ideally somewhere with a perch or a sill wide enough to sit on. If you want to do it properly, put a cat tree or a shelf at that window, and you've built them a whole afternoon. One exception worth mentioning. If your cat reacts badly to seeing other cats outside, hissing at the glass, spraying near the window, real agitation, then an open blind isn't a kindness. That's a cat watching an intruder walk through their territory and being unable to do anything about it. In that case, cover the lower half and leave the top open for light. Mistake 5. Leaving nothing to do. This one is where the destructive behavior comes from, and it's the most fixable thing on the list. An indoor cat left alone in a quiet house has no hunting, no patrolling, no novelty, and no company. Cats sleep a great deal, but not 16 hours in a row, and the waking hours have to go somewhere. So set something up before you leave, and it doesn't need to be expensive. A cat tree or a perch, because vertical space is genuinely valuable to a cat. Open paper bags and cardboard boxes, which are free and reliably interesting. Toys left out, and ideally rotated, put half of them away and swap them over each week, because a toy that's been absent for a fortnight is effectively a new toy. Puzzle feeders and treat balls if your cat is food motivated, which most are. And sound, which people find odd until they try it. Leaving a television or a radio on can genuinely help. Some cats will watch footage of birds or fish with real attention. Others just seem to settle better with quiet talk radio or gentle music than with total silence. Try one, watch what happens, and keep whatever works. Some cats couldn't care less. Others clearly prefer a house with a bit of noise in it to one that's gone completely silent. Mistake 6. Not getting a sitter because it's only a couple of days. Here's the sentence I hear constantly. You'd never leave a dog alone for a weekend, but a cat's fine. Cats are social. They form real bonds with their people. They benefit from company and play, and they notice absence. But honestly, the emotional argument isn't even the strongest one here. The strongest one is far more practical. If something goes wrong while you're away, nobody is there. Cats have genuine emergencies. A urinary blockage, which is a real risk in male cats, can go from uncomfortable to life-threatening within a day. A cat who stops eating entirely can develop serious liver problems remarkably quickly. There's injury, there's sudden illness, there's a cat shut in a wardrobe. A cat alone for 3 days with all of that going on has nobody to notice. So somebody comes in, ideally more than once a day, and ideally somebody who will actually look at your cat rather than refill a bowl and leave. And tell them what to check, because most people won't know. Is the cat eating? Has anything been used in the litter box? Are they hiding somewhere they don't normally hide? Those 3 questions catch most problems early, and they take about a minute. Mistake 7. Boarding a cat who'd be better off at home. There are genuine reasons to board. A cat on medication who needs monitoring. A cat with a condition that needs someone experienced. Building work. No available sitter. But for most cats, most of the time, home is considerably less stressful. Here's why. When you board a cat, they lose 2 things at once. They lose you, and they lose their territory. And territory is not a minor thing to a cat. It's the foundation of how safe they feel. So you've removed their person and put them in an unfamiliar space full of unfamiliar smells, unfamiliar sounds, and quite possibly the noise of other cats they can hear but can't see. That's a lot for an animal whose entire sense of security runs on predictability, and it's why some cats stop eating entirely in a boarding facility. At home, they lose one thing: you. Everything else, the smells, the roots, the hiding places, the windows, their own scent on the furniture, stays exactly where it was. It's your decision, and it depends on your cat and your circumstances. Just make it deliberately, rather than defaulting to boarding because it feels like the responsible option. Mistake 8. Not considering a second cat. Now, this one comes with a caveat, so let me put it up front. Some cats genuinely do not want another cat, and forcing it on them makes everything worse. But the belief that cats are solitary animals is a misreading. Cats are solitary hunters, which is a completely different thing. Left to their own devices, they form colonies, share sleeping spots, groom each other, and get on perfectly well. So if your cat is alone for long stretches every single day, and you genuinely cannot give them enough interaction and play, a companion is worth considering. 2 cats entertain each other. They play, they chase, they wear each other out, and they sleep. The common worry is that two cats means twice the trouble, and in practice, it's often the opposite. A lot of destructive behavior is a bored cat inventing their own entertainment. The important part is that it has to be done properly. A new cat introduced badly is worse than no cat at all, and you can create a problem that takes months to undo. That's a slow, staged process over weeks, not an afternoon and a hopeful attitude. And mistake 9, which isn't about the leaving at all. It's about not recognizing when your cat isn't coping. This is the one that matters most, because these signs get read as bad behavior almost every time. The first is vocalizing. A lonely cat wanders the house meowing or yowling, looking for someone to answer. And it's usually loudest at the two worst moments, the second you get home and in the middle of the night. The second is destructive behavior, scratching furniture, sweeping things off surfaces. A cat with nobody to interact with and energy to burn will manufacture something to do, and cats are intelligent enough to be quite creative about it. The third is going outside the litter box. And I want to be careful here, because that always warrants a vet check first. Urinary problems are common, and some are emergencies. But if your cat has a clean bill of health and is still doing it, stress is very often the reason underneath. The fourth is a cat who won't leave you alone the moment you're home. Following you room to room, constant contact, constant noise. That's not neediness. That's a cat telling you the ration is too small. And the fifth is any change in the ordinary things. Appetite. Grooming, either stopping or over-grooming one patch. Sleeping somewhere new. Hiding. The reason all of this gets missed is that cats look stoic. They don't perform distress the way a dog does. So it comes out sideways, in behavior, and gets filed as naughtiness. Now, how long can you actually leave a cat? For a healthy adult cat, a normal working day is fine. 8 to 12 hours with food, water, a clean box, and something to do is within normal for most cats. Overnight, one night, with everything set up properly, most adult cats manage. Beyond one night, get somebody in. That's the line I'd draw. And it's less about loneliness than about the fact that nobody is there if something goes wrong. And kittens, senior cats, and any cat with a medical condition need considerably more than that. Kittens shouldn't be alone for long stretches at all. So let me pull it together. Don't leave one huge pile of food. Small meals, proper times, spread it around. Extra boxes, scooped before you go, and daily while you're gone. Keep the routine as close to normal as possible. Leave a window uncovered. Set up something to do before you walk out the door. Get somebody in if it's more than one night. Think hard before boarding, because home usually wins. Consider a companion if your cat is alone all day, every day. And learn what a struggling cat actually looks like, because it looks like misbehavior. And here's the reframe I'd like you to take away. Everything on that list is small. A second litter box, a blind left up, a bag on the floor, somebody dropping in. Which means the difference between a cat who copes and a cat who doesn't is usually not a matter of how much you love them or how much you're around. It's 5 minutes of setup before you close the door. So tell me in the comments, what do you actually do with your cat when you're away for a few days? Sitter, boarding, neighbor, or the full setup at home? I genuinely like to know what people have landed on, because everybody solves this slightly differently. Hit like, subscribe, and send this to somebody who's about to go away for a weekend. I'm Leo Bennett, and before you leave, open one blind.